Hey guys! So today I'm filming a video of doing a little quick sketch in my sketchbook. So recently I've been trying to figure out how to film overhead shots, and I think I found a setup that works, and I just wanted to see how it turns out. So today I'll be sketching some anthuriums, and I'm using my Pitt oil-based pencil, which is from Faber-Castell, and this is something that I got for my art class, which we had to use for one of our assignments. And I didn't really like it at first, but when I was doing this assignment and building up the value, I started realizing how amazing it is, and I really love it now. And the one that I have is extra soft. So there's a multitude of different ones that you could get, but the softest one is the extra soft. So as you saw, I started off with some really loose gestural kind of marks on my page, and that kind of shows me where I want to place each leaf and where the flower is going to be. So just composition wise, trying to figure out the setup that I want to do. And then afterwards I started shading and going into more details of really the flowers and the stems. And there's a mixture of both line work and shading here. So if you want to do a drawing that's more realistic, you don't want to do hard edges. You don't want to define the object by lines, because that really flattens it out and makes it look 2D. So you want to shade it and create value, which creates depth. So I kind of have a mixture of both here, and I'm just going to go and kind of start shading in different places and building up this picture as a whole. Initially, what I wanted to do was a hyper-realistic drawing of the plant that I have, but as the drawing kind of progressed, I realized that I really liked the contour lines in combination with the shading and the more realistic plants. So I think they kind of complement each other really nicely, and rather than shading the whole entire picture, I decided to keep some parts like that, just raw, kind of unfinished gold lines, and then other parts more refined and with value. It's quite beautiful to see how these leaves intertwine with each other, and just the curve, sometimes they go inwards and then they open up again, and it's just really amazing to observe little details like this and capture it. And I'm drawing from real life right now, so sometimes it's hard to see that leaf in the same spot that you saw it a few minutes ago. And that's why these lines that you initially put on the page are so important, because it gives you a good foundation to build your drawing. So it might look like a jumbled mess of lines, but as I'm slowly progressing throughout the drawing, I hope you can kind of see the shapes and the forms that are coming to life. And this last leaf, pretty much I think I'm happy with how it looks. So I'm just going to keep going and shade that in, just to create a little bit of depth. And as you see, I'm kind of getting rid of that harsh line that I have there by shading that out. And so it becomes this dark region that shades into the lighter region of the rest of the leaf. And then when you're taking a close look, you can also see the different veins of the plant and how it goes into the leaf. And they're kind of very little subtle details that you can really capture with some shading. And so it's important to take a look at your drawing as a whole in between this entire process, and to look and observe and see, are there any other areas that I should kind of go into, or that's missing a little bit of detail. So that's why I'm kind of going and shading that bottom region, just so the top and the bottom just feel whole and kind of connected. And so again, for those veins of those leaves, instead of just potting down a few lines to show that, you know, they exist there, if you take some time to go in and shade around those areas, so naturally the white space is going to create that detail that you want to see in there. And what I'm doing right now is the second flower, which is a bit harder to distinguish because it's behind that first flower that I drew. And I'm just establishing the light source by shading more of that, the bottom region area, a bit more darker. And then again, showing the detail of the veins that are visible on the flower itself. And then the second flower behind the first one I drew is going to be a bit darker, just so that first flower comes forward. And you really just want to take your time and blend up the values. So instead of just going very hard and with a very hard pressure, what you want to do is slowly build it up, and that's how you get a very smooth transition. And because I'm shading different areas of this drawing, as my hand is gliding around the surface of the paper, it's smudging the pencil around. So you can either use a piece of paper underneath your hand to prevent that, or you can just simply go in and clean it up with an eraser. And before I call it quits, I'm just going to do some last minute details by really shading and creating some darker tones in there. So those are going to be the shadows. And this just really makes it pop and just brings it to life. And that is pretty much it. I really like the contrast between the more realistic regions in comparison with the line work that I have. So I'm going to just keep it at that, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will catch you in the next one. See ya!